Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today I'd like to talk about the shocking story of a woman, a mother of 8, being chained up as a sex slave for 3 men in the same family in a village in Jiangsu province in China. This story has sparked a lot of anger and public attention on Chinese social media platforms, but the CCP was quick to deny it. I will then talk about a true story that happened to myself more than 30 years ago. I met a young woman who was 6 months pregnant, who was sold to Shandong province and who had just escaped. Her story upset me so much, I have always wanted to tell it. So I'm taking this opportunity to do so today because it will show you that the tragic story of the mother of 8 is not an isolated incident, nor is it something that only exists now. First, I'd like to show you a video of the mother of 8 sent to me by a group called Proud Girls. I've added English subtitles to it and already posted it on YouTube and Twitter.
你能不能我这样说话，你能不能听懂？我跟你说话能听懂吧？不能。是不是？是不是能听懂一点呢？我跟你说话。不能是吧？不能把这筷子放下，这个饭还是能吃吧？扔穿上吧，好吧，扔，再我给你拉上，好吧。是吧？饿了吗？
今天我也说上，
慢慢吃，慢慢吃，还有好多呢，慢慢吃。坐下吃也可以，你坐下吃，坐在床上吃，坐在你的床上吃。喝水吧？不喝是吧？不喝水。喝点水吧，我给你弄点倒点水。
阿哥，我们就记一下吃你，记一下，我刚刚记一下我哥。
我吃吧。
这是你留的。
好，吃吧。
I don't know how you feel after watching this video. To be honest, I'm feeling very, very sad. It was so cold, the temperature was 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. She was wearing such thin clothes, chained with an iron chain and a lock around her neck, and she couldn't even speak properly anymore. Nobody can figure out what she was saying. She was chained in a small hut with no heating, not even a door, and ate cold rice. I don't know how she solved the problem of going to the toilet. At the end of the video, when the volunteer gives her food and talks to her, she subconsciously tries to move away from him, as if she is very afraid of being hurt. It was said that she had only 2 teeth left. From the video, you can indeed see that her teeth are incomplete and her incisors are gone. Some netizens say that her teeth were pulled out by her so-called husband with pliers. There are also rumors that she was actually a sex slave to her so-called husband, her husband's brother who was once in prison, and her husband's father. She was only 17 when she gave birth to her first child. This post says she may have been trafficked from Sichuan province when she was 15. Others say that she spoke English when she first arrived in the village. The video of her was first posted online on January 26. Then on January 28th, The CCP's propaganda department came out to dispel the rumor and said that the woman's name is Yang and she married the villager named Dong in 1998. They are legally wife and husband, and there is no such a thing as human trafficking. This notice also says that Yang often beat her children and the elderly for no reason. She has a mental illness and right now she is being given treatment, etc. Then on January 30th, the authorities issued a new document saying that the Public Security Department has put her DNA data into the National Public Security's Information System for Trafficked and Missing Children, as well as the National DNA Database, but did not find any kinship information. No human trafficking was found during the investigation. The document also says that Yang was found by her husband's father in 1998 while she was begging on the street. So he took her home. Her husband Dong chained her just to prevent her from hurting others, etc. However, this document admits that Dong's behavior is suspected of breaking the law. The public security authorities have launched an investigation into it. The latest news is yesterday, on January 31st, local authorities have started to renovate Dong's house and the hub next to the house, which was used to chain Yang inside. You can see the hub at the left side of this photo. Yang has disappeared from the hub since her video was spread widely online. Obviously, local authorities are in a hurry to destroy all evidence of this crime. The CCP has also deleted all comments about this matter. If anyone uses the word human trafficking when talking online, he or she will get a phone call from the police. The police not only know who you are, but also know who your parents are, where you work, etc. Although the police denied that Yang was a victim of human trafficking, netizens are keen to find out who she really is. They found a girl named Li Ying who looks quite like Yang. Li Ying was born in 1984 and went missing in 1996 when she was 12 years old. Netizens put the two photos together and compared them. And the similarity was very high. It was said that police in Sichuan province had contacted Li Ying's parents for DNA identification. It is also said that Li Ying's father passed away due to grief after his daughter went missing. Some people say that Yang is more like this student in Dalian City whose name is Liu Jianping. She was born in 1982 and went missing in 1996. So Yang could also be this girl called Liu Jianping. This 56-year-old man named Dong Zhiming is the so-called husband of Yang. This is a video screenshot of him holding his youngest child, who is 20 months old, during an interview. These are the 6 children he still has at home. The eldest son is already 23 years old and has gone out to work. This is Dong Zhiming's new image after the incident came to light, and he has become more polished and looks much better. Instead of being arrested, he has actually become an internet sensation for having as many as 8 children. But the reports about him never mention one word about Yang. They only talk about Dong Zhiming's inspirational story of raising 8 children, his open and cheerful outlook on life, etc. However, according to Proud Girls, who provided the videos to me, the CCP officials have arrested several people for exposing Yang's plight. That's why they asked me to cover the face of the volunteer in the video. If such a vicious event happens in the West, we can imagine it will be very sensational and the media may cover it very intensely. I remember there was even a Hollywood movie about a woman who escaped from captivity after giving birth to a boy. I watched that movie several years ago. It was really shocking and engaging. But in the CCP's China, officials are actively covering up this crime because it does not fit the main narrative that women have been liberated, everyone has been lifted out of poverty, and the nation is enjoying common prosperity, etc. On the contrary, the rape of a woman and the birth of 8 children can be used as a positive story, as the CCP now desperately needs people to raise more children so that it can have more slaves in the future. Also, the CCP is very good at controlling public opinion and controlling the so-called direction of public opinion. So such a shocking event has been turned into a positive one of how the government is helping this family raise 8 children, etc. Next, I would like to tell the true story of a woman who was trafficked. It was in 1985 or 1986 when I was a student at Peking University. I always took the train back home to Sichuan during the holidays. Whenever it was winter break, it was also the time for millions of migrant workers from all over the country to go home for the new year, and the train was always crowded. And how crowded was it every time I wanted to go to the toilet at night? The aisles was full of people. There was not even a place for you to put your feet to walk. Every time I had to hold the back of the chairs on both sides of the aisle, step on the shoulders of the migrant workers sitting on the floor and jump all the way through. When the train stopped at Zhengzhou station, more people got onto it. By the way, Zhengzhou is the capital city of Henan province, which was badly flooded last summer. We reported about that. And among the people who got onto the train at Zhengzhou station, a woman who looked less than 30 years old and in a black short coat was slowly pushed to my seat and ended up standing next to me. I noticed that her face was very pale, as if she was going to pass out or vomit at any moment. I was wondering what was wrong with her. After a while, the train stopped at the next station. The person next to me left the train. The seat became vacated. A migrant worker was quick to grab the seat and sit down. I said to him, "Let's take care of this lady, okay? You say she's quite uncomfortable." He hesitated for a while, but agreed to it anyway, and really gave that seat to her. It was not a small deal, as he might have to stand for 30 hours after losing that seat. So in this way, the young woman sat next to me and was very grateful to me. At first, she just told me that she was 6 months pregnant and she was not feeling well. Slowly, she told me that she had just escaped. She said she was from Sichuan province and a distant relative said that he could take her out to work, so she followed him. The relative took her to Shandong and sold her for a few thousand yuan and ran away with the money. She was then forced to marry the man of that family. They were afraid she would run away and always kept a very tight rein on her, locking her up at home most of the time. She was not the only one who was sold there in the village. Once she heard from the loudspeaker that the wife of a certain family had run away, and everyone was asked to go look for her and chase after her. She said in that village, many villagers bought wives from other places, mostly from Sichuan province. Those women were regarded as the property of the village. So if one wanted to escape, the whole village would help chase her. Because the woman who escaped was not familiar with the village and did not know where to run to, she was soon caught and beaten up badly. From then from then on, they kept control of her more tightly, so there was no chance to escape at all. So, although the woman sitting next to me also wanted to run away, she did not want to be like that girl who got caught shortly after running away. If she ran, it must be successful. Later, she became pregnant, and her body's reaction to the pregnancy was strong and not good, and her feet swelled up terribly. The family was afraid that something would happen to the baby, so they took her to the county hospital for a checkup in a donkey cart, something like this. She took the opportunity to observe the environment and remembered the road of out of the village as well as the direction of the county. After they came back from the hospital, she began to prepare for the escape. To run away, she must have money to buy tickets for the bus and the train. She knew that when she got to the county, she could take a long-distance bus to Zhengzhou and then take the train back to Sichuan. From then on, she started stealing money from her husband's wallet when she slept, but she was very careful. Each time she only took out a little, a few dozens of cents, or even a few cents. She rarely took even 1 yuan or more. She thought this was the only way not to be caught. So she patiently took a few cents every night. After a few months, she finally saved enough money for her to buy a long-distance bus ticket from the county to Zhengzhou. But she still needed money for the train ticket to Sichuan. The money she had was far from enough to get her home. Seeing that her belly was getting bigger and bigger, she became very anxious. If she didn't run quickly enough, it would be too late. Finally, one day her husband came back and was obviously very drunk, and he had more money in his wallet than usual. Maybe he had just made some extra money from somewhere. Early in the morning, when she got up and found a huge fog outside, she felt that a heaven-given opportunity had arrived and immediately decided to escape. She took out all the money in the man's wallet. She thought, I'm going to run away anyway, so what if I take it all? But on second thought, she didn't take it all. She only took enough money to buy a train ticket and a little money for her meals on the way. She told me that if she took all the money, when they found out that the money was gone, they would be chasing her with all their might. If she only took a small portion, they would lose less and had less incentive to chase her. Also, if she really got caught because she took less money, they would hate her less. And she could even say that she did not want to run. She just wanted to go back home to visit her family. So that's why she did not take all the money. In this way, she could leave herself and the other party a way out. When I heard this, I really admired her. In such a moment, she could still think so reasonably. and knew how to handle things so that everyone could have a way out. So she took the money and walked desperately in the fog towards the county, not daring to stop at all for fear that her husband would find her running away and bring people to chase her. It took her more than 3 hours to walk to the county, and she was so tired that she almost collapsed. When she finally reached the station and the bus stopped in front of her, she was so weak that she didn't even have the strength to lift her legs to get onto the bus. Finally, someone else dragged her up. In this way, she managed to escape and got on the train back to Sichuan. We talked all the way, and I felt both sympathy and admiration for her. And I thought that was the whole of her story. I didn't expect that when I was about to get off, she stammered and told me that, in fact, she had already had a family in Sichuan and an 8-year-old son at home. When she went out to work, her son was left with her parents. Now that she's back with someone else's baby in her belly, how would her family in Sichuan look at this matter? Would they accept her if she didn't plan? So she didn't plan to go back to her parents' house directly, but wanted to go to a relative's place first to inquire about things and then ask her relative to help her find out how things are. If her family can still accept her, then she will abort the baby in her belly and go back to live with them. However, if her family cannot accept her because she has been raped by another man, then she has to leave her 8-year-old son and go back to the family that bought her in Shandong and gave birth to the child for them. She will also say that she just wanted to go back to Sichuan and hope that they can still take her in. Apparently, she had not told the man in Shandong that she was already married and had a son in Sichuan. You know, in Chinese society at that time, female chastity was still very important, and every man wanted to a virgin when they got married. Women who had sex with other men or who were raped were looked down upon. So when I heard her telling me this, I was stunned and didn't know what to think or what to say. I was just a college student under 20 years old who had no idea that there were such difficult and complicated things in the world. I really didn't know how to process this piece of information in my mind, and I didn't know what advice to give her. Should her abort her baby or not? It was not good to kill the baby, but if her family in Sichuan didn't accept her, what could she do? What made me particularly sad was that she looked so calm, so business as usual when she told me all this. It seemed that I was more worried and more anxious than her. Many Chinese farmers are just like that. They're passively enduring everything no matter how harsh fate is. It seems that they feel that they have nothing else to do other than do their best to bear and digest whatever is given to them. They do not expect the world to help them at all, nor do they expect anything from the government. They just silently endure whatever hardships they have in life. Later, I arrived at my station and got off the train before her. I don't know what happened to her after that, but I have never forgotten her story or her face, and that's why I'm telling her story here. According to the CCP's own judicial 2016 statistical yearbook, in 6 counties belonging to Xuzhou City in Jiangsu Province, from 1986 to 2006, there were altogether 48,100 trafficked women. The youngest was only 13 years old. In some villages, these women accounted for 1/3 of youth marriages. Woman trafficking is all too common in China, and it has been happening for decades. The CCP has been boasting about its national power and its ability to govern. But when this kind of thing happens, it is not dealing with the criminals or criminal behaviors. It covers up the crimes and is busy dealing with those who expose the truth. Well, that's all for today. YouTube has been continuing to subscribe people from my channel without their knowledge. So please do check once in a while if you are still subscribed. Also, if you could, please consider signing up for a membership or making a donation at my website at jenniferzengblog.com so that we can stay connected. Thank you. See you next time.